Welcome to the Off Grid Podcast, powered by Retreat Caravans. Join us as we dive into the incredible stories of caravanners who've embraced the open road and the off-grid lifestyle. Welcome to another episode of the Off Grid Podcast. I'm your host, Tilly, and today I've got the pleasure of having Cameron and Emma with me live here on the podcast. Now, you might know them as Cameron and Emma. However, you might even know them on Instagram as Traveling with Five. Welcome, guys. How are we?
Great.
Good.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. We're pretty pumped
at
about it.
Well, it's been a long time coming because, we're trying to get through all of the families that are doing amazing stuff on Instagram. And you guys are definitely doing some amazing stuff on Instagram. Now, you say you're traveling with five, but there's only two here. Where are the other three?
Yeah, so we've sent them back to school for a little while at the moment. So they've been back 2 days now, and our middle child, Sarah's off to her first school camp. So we couldn't let her miss that experience.
Very interesting. And where is camp these days?
Where is camp?
It's the Great Aussie Bush Camp that they go to. It's about 45 minutes outside of Newcastle where we live.
Yeah, okay,
Like
cool.
the rock climbing,
Lots
big
of rock
giant
climbing. Yeah,
swings,
there's
abseiling.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. Get them back out in the bush. So, yeah, from what we do in the bush is a bit different to what they go to and do as camp in the bush.
She'd probably be a little bit more advanced. She's probably thinking like, this is just like every weekend for me and my family, isn't it?
That's right. She was not phased at all this morning. Bit concerned as to why the caravan wasn't coming with her, but
Yeah.
she'll be fine.
Well, she can't glamp in style at the cabins or wherever they're staying. She doesn't have the big 26-footer behind her. But tell us a little bit about your kids, their age, and, I guess how long they've been camping or caravanning for. And we'll get into your story very shortly. But they're not here, but we might as well give them a bit of a shout out.
Yeah, definitely. So we've got Madison's our eldest. She is 10, nearly 11, and she has been camping since, she was 6 months old. We used to actually have this really tiny caravan that we used to have to drop the table and put her porta cot on the table.
Oh, wow.
So that was kind of how we started out caravanning with her.
Yep.
And then we've got Sarah, who is 8.
Yep.
She's our girl. She's a little bit more reserved in life. She can take a little bit to just assess the situation and see what's going on, but then she always wants to give things a go.
Yep.
Which we get really proud of her for overcoming some of those fears. And then we've got Hayden, who is 7, and he is just the class clown of our family. He keeps us all occupied and laughing every day. He
comes out with the really cracking one-liners.
Good one-liners, especially
Sounds
on
like
those
my
long
kind of a
car
kid.
trips. Yeah. So that's the three kids.
Maddie and Hayden, sort of their boots and all straight into things, whereas Sarah will stand back with us and just there's other kids around. She'll assess whether they're friendly to a brother and sister first.
Yeah.
Then she'll get involved.
So she's like the parent of the group all the time, basically.
Oh,
yeah. She's definitely been here before, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Now, they've obviously got a big 26-footer. The mum and dad got them obviously as a big, whether it was a Christmas or birthday or just in general a gift. Tell us a little bit about your caravan and your setup.
It's a Whitsunday 260B. Originally a quad bunk design, but then we always wanted to give the kids a bit more storage and a bit more space in their area. So we came up with this idea of, can we get rid of one of the bunks and put wardrobes in underneath for the kids so they've got their own individual, instead of having just a drawer in the cupboard at the end like they had in our triple bunk van we had previously.
Yeah.
And it's worked out really well. It's the amount of space that we've got in this van. Yeah, it's big. Yeah, it's sometimes a little difficult to get into places. It just gives us a lot more comfort in having the kids having their own space when we're on the road.
And you don't have to sort of like think about, what am I going to take? What am I not going to take because I can't store it? You guys have been able to say, I could take the kids, I could take the kitchen sink, and we could take all their little bits and pieces as well.
And all the rocks they collected and bring it along the way.
Yeah, fair enough.
There are some drawbacks to just taking everything. There is we are restricted on weight because it is such a big van.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do manage to take everything that we need.
Yeah,
And
cool.
having that full bathroom across the back of the van,
That's a big thing.
that's a luxury for us. We definitely love not having the smaller bathroom, having that full vanity and that full sink, and the size of the shower back there is absolutely crazy. When the kids were younger, I'd just pop the 3 of them in there and just hose them off together. So super amazing.
So for those that don't know your layout, it's actually 26 foot. So it's called a 26B. So it's a 26-foot full caravan, the cabin wise. So mum and dad have got the bedroom as soon as you enter in on your left. Then you've got a traditional lounge and kitchen like you would find in a normal 21 footer for a couple. Then after you pass through there, you've got 4 bunks generally, 2 either side, and they're full length as well, right?
Yeah, we can lay on them.
Converted yours from the top bunk and bottom bunk to top bunk and storage. So what were we saying, Emma?
We can lay on them, and we're quite tall, so if one of the kids is sick and comes into our bed, Cameron can go and lay on that bottom bunk bed and have a great night's sleep.
Yeah. And then when you get to the back, like you said, it's a traditional ensuite. So it's not a little corner ensuite. It's a full ensuite like you would get in many rear ensuite caravans that people traveling as couples and anything like that. So it is big, like you said, Cameron, but, they say bigger is better. Size does matter. And in this case, it really does.
Yeah.
We actually haven't had issues getting it into anywhere. We've even been to Lane Cove Caravan Park in Sydney.
Yeah.
You've obviously got to ring them and, give them the warning and say, hey, have you got a site that can fit us? But yeah, just by communicating with people, we haven't had any issues. And then obviously free camping, size doesn't matter.
And Em gets out a lot and makes sure that, because the reversing camera sees a lot and the mirrors see a lot, but doesn't see everything. So
you just work together.
Maddie, our oldest, and Em get out of the car and tell me whether I'm going to hit something or
And has it ever tested the relationship? Like, Emma, have you ever been on the, on the radio going, stop, before he he gets really close?
No, I think actually putting the van in place is something we've worked out a really good system and we do quite well. And yeah, Maddie, this last trip, she actually our 10-year-old learnt how to reverse Cameron onto the van.
Oh, wow.
So, and then she's learnt how to, hook the car up to the caravan and do all those checks. So it was actually really good to get her involved this last trip. You told me I wasn't needed anymore.
100%. I just take Madison with me and we'll go away by ourselves.
But do you make a good coffee in the morning though, Emma?
I don't drink coffee.
Oh, really? Okay. That's different.
No, I'm up early. I make my coffee and then I make the kids breakfast and I get Em's breakfast for her and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So,
wow. Emma, you've got yourself a bit of a win here.
Oh, getting to stay in bed. It's just, you can't have too many people in the kitchen in a caravan.
Fair call. Now, with your setup, obviously, you've told us a little bit about your layout. Now, you guys have obviously done a bit of off-gridding, which we'll get to shortly. But what allows you to stay off-grid for longer?
Yeah, so we don't really have too much. It's, I guess, just about how we use it.
Yeah,
what have we got in solar?
So we've got 390 watts and 2 panels on the roof.
Yeah. And then just the water.
And then water. We've only got 190 litres of water on board when we're fully loaded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a 225 amp hour lithium battery, just a single one.
Yep.
And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Do you have an inverter to complement that system?
No,
okay, cool. Which is uncommon. Like most people these days, when they're going off grid, they're obviously, Emma, you don't drink coffee, but Cameron, I'm not sure how you make your coffee, but some people are addicted to the pods, right? So having an inverter these days is almost like a necessity. But you guys are proving, the exception to the rule where you don't need an inverter, which is good to hear. And from what I gather as well, you don't have a what they could classify a traditional off-road caravan either. Your caravan's on leaf spring suspension, is that right?
Yeah, it's rocker roller suspension. Yeah,
we did get a 2-inch lift.
We got a riser through the chassis, so it is a little bit higher. But it's just rocker roller suspension underneath it.
And how have you gone with that? Because obviously people that are probably watching this thinking, oh, this is interesting. This has got my attention now because, they must think all the time, well, if it's got 16-inch wheels, if it's got an independent suspension, I can take it wherever I want. So your caravan's got leaf springs, and is it 15 or 16-inch wheels that you have? 15s, yeah. And I guess from Instagram, it tells us that you've been to a lot of places. How has it handled the conditions? And maybe this is a good time to tell us where you've been thus far as off-grid or a little bit, semi-type off-road.
Well, I'll answer the question on how it's handled. It's been great. Yeah, okay, there's been a few things that have rattled loose when we've gone over corrugations, but nothing's broken, nothing's fallen apart, nothing that couldn't be fixed.
Yeah.
It's handled it quite well. You just got to drive to the conditions and
stop and do regular
checks. Yeah, about every 15, 20 minutes on our last run. We were stopping and checking just to make sure that everything wasn't in the footwell near the door or anything like that.
So we did have actually the fridge door opened on us on our last bit of off-roading. Whether or not one of the kids hadn't clipped it in properly, shut that properly, I'm not sure. So by
stopping on the kids, eh?
Oh yeah, always.
Absolutely.
They're not here to defend themselves either.
Because we stopped regularly, nothing had actually come out of the fridges yet.
Okay.
So we actually just grabbed some of our electrical tape and just put some tape on the fridge, just make sure that, it was secure, and everything was fine.
Yeah. A lot of people I've seen use those little, the baby, the little, what do they call the little clips?
Yes.
Yeah, the safety straps.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would work really, really well. We didn't have any of those, so we just used what we had.
Yeah.
Which was,
so it's handled.
That's actually just gone up on Insta.
Sorry, you were saying?
I think that photo's actually just gone up on Insta, where you can see the mesh work of all of our tape work to keep the door shut.
Nice.
Well, better to do some precaution work than, have an issue when you pull up.
Correct. Preparation and prevention is all what's important when you're doing these big trips, of course. Now, I would ask if you guys are full-time travelers, but you've told me that you've just come back home now. So how often do you guys actually get away as a family?
Yeah, so really often. We're actually off again in 2 weeks, just for a shorter trip. But I guess for us, we have that work-home travel balance. Mm-hmm. So we've just done the 4 weeks away. We're home for 2 weeks. We're away for a short period again. Next year, we are planning a big 4-month trip over to Western Australia.
Must be something in the water. Everyone's going there now. Everyone I've spoken to is going to WA.
Yes, so hopefully we'll meet all those people next year.
Yeah. There's so many open places over there that you just can't see that, like the Carragini and Exmouth and stuff like that. You just can't see that sort of landscape anywhere in Australia. So
yeah, we're really excited about that.
What I'm seeing on Instagram and people traveling to places, Esperance, if I was to go to WA, Esperance is the place that I would want to go to.
Yeah,
definitely.
And what do you guys do when you're not traveling? What do you do for work?
You want to go first?
Oh, so I run a building company.
Cool.
Local to Newcastle. So I've been doing that for a couple of years now, and it's really great that working with the owner, I have that flexibility to work from the road as well, which has been able to help us create this lifestyle that we're happy to come back to, and then we love it when we go away as well. That's and then cool. Cameron has his own business.
Yeah,
let me guess. Hang away. You're not another auto electrician, are you?
No.
Hey, finally.
No, I run a small mining supply business. So I design and improve fixed plant mining equipment.
Yep.
I'd done that previously for about 15 years, and then when just before COVID hit, actually, I decided to go out on my own. And start my own business. Mm-hmm. So been doing that for about 4 years now.
So yeah, Cameron will often, overnight time when the kids go to bed, when we are traveling, he'll come in and do some drawings to keep on top of things, and that sort of thing. So
that's good.
And the kids know when we're traveling that if the phone rings and I've got to answer it, that the volume goes down and Dad's on a work call, and we go through that, and then when they hang up, they go back to being noisy.
Your kids are a lot more better than my kids. My volume goes up when I go on the phone. But Cameron, give us a plug for your business, mate. What do we call it?
So it's called Apex Asset Improvement. I don't actually have a real online presence. The only way to get in contact with it is to call me. On my mobile, or send me an email. And
give us your email address, mate. We won't throw your mobile out just in case. But what is the email address if anyone is looking to acquire your services?
So it's c.jolly, JOLLY, @apexai.com.au.
There you go. Nice. All right. Well, if I ever need any mining services, I know exactly where to go. Apex. Now, where have you guys been? So I guess you've been a lot of places, but where have you been that you would think sticks in your mind, you know, a good family memory, or and it could be a good one or it could be a bad one that's just something that you can never forget as well. So share with us some of your historical trips that you've had so far.
So, oh gosh, we've done a lot of New South Wales, I guess, being from New South Wales. We've been into Queensland. We did a big trip before our eldest started school down into Victoria. We went to the snow down there. And yeah, obviously this last trip, I think it's been some of our most favourite places that we've ever been.
It's also been because the kids are now at an age where they really are involved in everything.
Yeah.
The big trip down into Victoria again, because before Maddie started school,
you're still dealing with kids
still
having
nappy and they're still little. Like they don't. Hayden, our youngest, he doesn't really remember any of that trip.
Yeah.
So this one, the memories that we've made from this last trip.
And this was in Northern Territory, right?
Yeah.
Straight across to the border into SA.
Yep.
And then we went up the middle through South Australia into the Northern Territory, spent majority of our time in Northern Territory and southern Outback Queensland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds really interesting.
Yeah, the West MacDonald Ranges, I think, for all of us, we loved Uluru.
Yeah.
But then getting to be off-grid in the West MacDonald Ranges, I think that's a pretty special place.
Some of those water holes that are just, you're in the middle of 37, 38 degree heat. It's dry. It looks like the tiniest little spark would start a massive wildfire.
Yeah.
And then you walk into this shaded area between two great big rocks and there's water.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And the life that comes with it, the bird life, the animals that you see. And yeah, just the experience of actually getting to some of them too.
Mm-hmm.
Like Red Bank Gorge was probably one of our highlights because it's a decent hike. It's not terribly hard as a hike, but it's a decent walk in there. You got to scramble over some rocks, deal with the soft sand in the creek bed and stuff like that. But so yeah, it's a really good experience.
It's all about, right? Just having these memories now that, you know, hopefully your kids can remember these ones. I know you said, you know, Hayden's first trip that he can't probably remember too much in Victoria, but this sort of stuff here, and, you know, with Maddie being the co-pilot in a sense of hooking up in that, you know, these are the things they're going to remember. And some of the footage that I've seen on your Instagram, like the drone shot that you had with your car and your caravan was in the middle of the big red desert, you know, with some trees scattered through there. I'm not sure if that's the same place that you're saying that it was. But yeah, just they're pictures that you see on postcards, you know, and this is actually your stuff, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Not everybody gets the opportunity to go to these places, and they are really special.
Yeah, there's been multiple times this trip where we've both just said to each other, that looks like it's fake.
Yeah.
Like it looks like a painting, or it just looks like something on a TV screen, particularly the night sky when you're out in the outback.
Yeah.
Just walk out of your caravan and there's that many stars and you can see the Milky Way that clearly, that actually looks like you're looking at it on a TV screen.
Yeah.
Nice.
I do have a good drone story for you.
Yeah, okay. Go
for it. He'll get embarrassed about this.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to leave for this one.
So
hang around.
Ellery Big Hole in the West MacDonald Ranges. We got there one afternoon. There was nobody around. So I said to Cameron, hey, why don't you pop the drone up while there's no one here, get a couple of videos, take some photos.
Yeah.
So he goes, yep, gets it all set up and goes, oh, it's only got a couple of minutes left of battery. It'll be fine. I'll be super quick. So he goes out over the water doing the video, and then all of a sudden I hear him say, oh, it's not responding anymore.
Ooh.
Because of the battery. So we now have our $2,000 drone just sitting out in the middle of the water hole and just slowly, really slow-mo, just going down towards the water.
Oh, no.
So, of course, I become hysterical wife screaming at him that he has to go and get it. He's screaming at me, it's too late. So that happens for about a good 15, 30 seconds. Until something finally triggers and Cameron goes, do you know what? I'm gonna jump in this water and try and save this.
Yeah.
Rips his shirt off, starts running
David
on down
Hasselhoff
to the
style.
water.
Yeah,
Baywatch style. Goes to, for some reason, also in this moment thinks, I'll rip my shorts off because I'll be able to kick better.
I'll be able to swim better with no shorts on.
Yes,
Fair enough.
Remove our shorts in this running moment. We removed underwear, everything.
Full nudie run.
Yeah, accidentally hooked the boxer shorts with it as well. So
yeah, fair enough.
So next minute I'm screaming at him, why are you naked?
Yeah.
dives into the water. He actually managed to swim out. So he's now treading water under the drone, like arm in the air, yelling at me, like, go and get the remote, make it lower. And I'm like, oh, I've never flown the drone before. So anyway, long story short, it actually slowly came down. You managed to catch it. I picked up your shorts and waddled myself into the water and said, please put your pants back on before you.
So my question is, right, whilst all this was happening, was the drone still recording? And
did
you have the footage?
No, I'd actually stopped the recording to fly it back to do a different angle on the same shot. And then it just took over. But because there was no GPS to return to home, where I took off from,
just lands where it
just started coming down to the water.
It would have been great viewing, obviously, for you guys, not for Instagram.
Oh, there was an older lady who had come down to take some photos of the sunset. Yeah. So I was apologizing profusely.
Did she see the full moon?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But she was just laughing her head off, and she just came and put her arm around me and she goes, no, that's the best thing I've ever seen.
Oh, there you go.
Sorry.
You know, this is a MA rated show, so we can't continue on with what I'm thinking to ask. We'll let it go there. But listen, you guys are not just are traveling with 5 combination with the Caravan. You guys get a bit, I guess, in the sky as well. You've traveled around the world as well. Where have you been to with the kids?
Yeah, gosh, our kids have had some incredible adventures. So we actually, over December and January, spent 2 months overseas.
Yeah.
We did 15 countries in that 2 months. And the main reason for the trip was actually taking the kids to Santa Claus's village.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
So Santa had invited them the year before. So there was a whole 12 months lead up. And yeah, they got a pretty special experience going on reindeer rides, husky rides. But yes, we did a lot of Europe. They've also done Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, Fiji, and we've actually just booked, the kids don't know it yet, so it's a good thing they're not here, but we've actually just booked a surprise Christmas trip for them to Vanuatu.
Hey, how good's that?
Yeah.
New Year's in Vanuatu will be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. So that, they get to go everywhere in Australia with their caravan, and they get to jet set all around the world, on an aeroplane. So
yeah,
lucky kids, mate. I hope my kids are not watching. They're going to be saying, I want to get this.
Always be looking for a special. That's my hot tip.
Yeah, that's right. We are and Em's really good at this, driving home to them just how lucky they are, particularly with the big trip to Europe. And I was as well. Like, not everybody gets to do this. Not everybody gets the opportunity to do these sort of things. So they're very fortunate, and they are very humble about it.
They are. We made them for the 12 months prior. They were actually collecting cans off family members, and so they did the recycling program and actually got all their own spending money to take with them. So, it's a good learning opportunity as well.
Yeah,
absolutely. No, good on you guys. And so with the caravan, where to next? You said that you're going to go to WA, right? So is there any destinations that you want to hit whilst you're there? And what months are you looking at going?
So we're planning on leaving Easter next year. So that's end of March.
Yep.
And then, so the kids will come out of school for term 2.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll homeschool on the road for that. And the school is really supportive, which is amazing. But I guess our big things are obviously Ningaloo, Gibb River Road.
Yep.
Just honestly everywhere. Every time I see another family that's over there, I write down where they've been, and I've got a little list happening. So especially if it's somewhere different, we like to go, maybe not to the big tourist attractions, but just to those more offbeat places that, maybe are not as popular.
Wave Rock. The Bungle Bungles. That's and Caravanning.
Yeah, I've heard that's actually pretty amazing.
Yeah. There's I went through there once with a work trip, with a mate of mine, and we stopped off just for lunch at one of the waterholes, and it was really amazing. But it was one of the really easy to get to waterholes. So I'm kind of looking forward to trying to find some of the ones that aren't so easy to get to.
Yeah, nice. And just be careful. I reckon Maddie, she's conquered the hookup part. She might want to get in the driver's seat soon enough.
Oh, she's already asked if she could sit in the front seat and I can go in the back. I was like, no.
So she's going to be the full co-pilot, telling us where to go and everything like that. So
when she's reversing your caravan into a spot, whether it's free camping or a caravan park, she's taken over.
Yeah,
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty cool. And well, listen, in your travel plans, if you haven't booked anything for September school holidays next year, again, I'm not sure if you know or not, but we're having a big retreat rally next year in September in Tailem Bend in South Australia.
Amazing.
So, it is on, and we're going to be taking over the Tailem Bend Caravan Park. There'll obviously be powered sites and non-powered sites as well, and some cabins. So, maybe put that on the agenda for next year, September. Contact Lynn and Phil Deves on the Retreat Family Group Facebook page if you're not already on there. But guys, listen, it's been a pleasure to learn a little bit about your travel adventures and also learn a little bit about your family and your future aspirations and some of your past trips. So thank you very much for joining us on the Off Grid podcast. And once again, for those people that have not seen your stuff on Instagram or Facebook, Emma, take it away. Where can they see some of this spectacular stuff that's on social media with you guys?
So we are traveling _with_5 on Instagram, Facebook. I do have some of our overseas adventures on YouTube, and our latest trip to Uluru will hopefully be up soon.
Yep.
So we'll have some videos coming as well.
Beautiful. Well, thank you very much, guys. We'll be sure to tag you guys in on the post. And good luck with the big trip next year, and have fun in Vanuatu.
We will. Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
No problems at all, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Off Grid podcast. If you're passionate about off-grid adventures and have a unique story, we'd love to have you on as a guest. Connect with us to share your experiences and inspire others with your off-grid journey. Remember, life is an adventure meant to be lived off the grid. Don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories, helpful tips, and exciting adventures. This is the Off Grid podcast, powered by Retreat Caravans.